Good afternoon and welcome to Rhyme of the Times for the weekend in 13th of December 2025. Australia's social media ban on Tuesday began. The West is not a fan of Trump's peace plan, so Zelensky's doing what he can without upsetting the man with the orange tan. Flames being fanned in the Caribbean. The King announces his new work plan. Those digging up dirt on Farage are panned by Reform UK as they defend their man. North of Venezuela, some disturbing scenes, a build-up of warships stuffed with US Marines. Gunboat diplomacy or just plain lunacy now unfolding in the South Caribbean Sea. And then on Wednesday, Trump sounded quite chipper about the seizure of the oil tanker Skipper, the first Venezuelan ship seized by the US since the beginning of this Trump-fueled unrest. South America, a new stress test for the West as Trump once more puts international law to the test. For 3 decades since it became commonplace, the internet has changed the face of the human race, bombarding and overloading us from cyberspace, while lawmakers have badly struggled to keep pace. From the beginning, it was well understood that this new invention was a force for good, but then the hand of the devil got involved and an element of unforeseen danger evolved. And this problem, though many have tried to resolve, appears to be one that cannot be solved. The invention cannot be uninvented. The insidious takeover can't be prevented. Would a ban work, or is it a blunt tool? The internet savvy are usually no fools. They'll bypass the roadblocks, cheat the tech. For the politicians, it's become a pain in the neck. But on Tuesday, Australia took the plunge. Social media from young lives they would try to expunge. Now the world spotlight down under is being shone to see how this social experiment gets on. A ban from social media for their under 16s. How will kids cope with new behaviour and routines caused by living in a world they've never seen? After less than a week, the reaction has been a range of views from antipathetic to very keen. Overall, it's too early to see just what it all means. The last 2 years for our king have been very tough, with cancer and Andy and all that mucky stuff. But now, coming into sight is possibly the end, as Charles has shown signs of being on the mend. On Friday he announced he was back once more to a 5-day working week and overseas tours. For 28 days the waves had ceased, waves of migrants on the waves of the Channel Seas, waves of desperate, wretched humanity, along with chances on the edge of insanity. The longest spell of no crossings for 7 years had brought the government some belated cheers. But then on Saturday, after the lull, came the storm, and oh what a storm! As they came like a swarm, the floodgates appeared to have been unlocked, the bottleneck of migrants had been unblocked. Over 700 in one day landing on our shores, the year's total now more than all of 2024. On Wednesday, a Treasury Select Committee got down to the financial nitty-gritty. For 1 3/4 hours, Rachel Reeves received a grilling over the budget she had conceived and how the build-up to it had been perceived by much of the country who felt they'd been deceived. A taxing attack as she took a lot of flack, but Rachel's boss, Keir Starmer, still has her back. Nigel Farage recently had been embattled, slightly rattled by what he views as tittle-tattle, tales from the archives of bad things he said and did at Dulwich College as a 14-year-old kid. Reform UK's stance is it's just left-wing trolls freaking out over the current state of the polls. The debate is, do these skeletons indicate a teenage phase or something more innate? Thursday's statement from Dulwich didn't aid Nigel's case, saying their college is now a very different place. To foes of Farage, such a statement of course meant this was certainly no glowing school endorsement. Trump's 28-point plan to end Putin's war had appeasement of the Kremlin coward at its core. The US president's vacillations look like turning Ukraine into a vassal nation. Independent in name but at Russia's beck and call, with Kyiv having a Putin poodle installed. The deal would have Ukraine's army neutered and no joining NATO now or in the future, and no NATO troops allowed to keep the peace, to stop Russia returning to grab another piece. But President Zelensky, more than anyone, knows what happens if you dare step on Trump's toes. So knowing what he knows, he instead chose to propose an alternative plan to end his country's woes. Rather than put Trump's nose out of joint, he made his point with his own 20 points. No outright rejection of what Trump had planned, but no letting Putin keep any stolen land. But the Kremlin coward won't accept any of this, being the playground bully that he is. And so, once again, it's the same old cycle, with the Kremlin coward just taking the Michael. Trump phones Vlad to give a wink and a nod, then he talks to Vlad and threatens him with the rod. So now, once more, we've come back to square one, and no matter how Trump may wish to have it spun, Russia will keep fighting whether they've lost or won, because Putin doesn't want peace when all's said and done. For him, talk is cheap. Wars are won by the gun.